What's up, YouTube? It's the Action Figure Grader coming back to you with another video, and I thought I would show you some items that just came in while I was out of town, and compare them to some items I already had, and also show you a few bootlegs that I got here recently, and they are awesome and super difficult to find. What we got, these three in the middle are all graded. These are all Kenner figures, and these are all recent purchases. The ones on each side, this is my U90 graded Bossk figure that has the olive head with the flat paint. That one has been, I've shown you that in a different video. I had graded, and it came back with an awesome score. And this is my PBP hard torso variant Greedo that I also had in my collection. I've shown to you in my past. But these three in the middle are all new acquisitions. So without further ado, let's take a look at these three, and then I'll show you the three bootlegs. Just real quick, the bootlegs are all Mexican bootlegs from the late 1980s and early 1990s. I can't even begin to describe how difficult it has been to find a Bossk and Greedo Mexican bootleg. I'm not joking. I have spent hours and hours trying to find these things, and I got really lucky, and I'll tell you the story. And but first let's take a look at the three Kenner figures I bought. These were all from the same seller, and they were all very reasonably priced. I got a great deal on them. So let's first take a look at Bossk. Here he is. This is Bossk, and the grading on it, this is a olive head glossy paint, and of course my camera decides to get funky on me. Of course it does. There we go. Olive head gloss paint, Bossk. 1980. It's still not very clear. I'm sorry. I don't know what there it is. 1980 Kenner Star Wars loose action figure. This is a Hong Kong COO, Hong Kong country of origin. But this has got the olive head and the gloss paint, and it came back as an 85 near mint plus. Since we're on Bossk, let's go ahead and take a look at the one that's already in my collection. This is the olive head flat paint U90. So this is the one I had in my collection. Essentially, these are the exact same figures. The only difference is the paint on the limbs. So you can see the arms on the flat one. You can see how flat the paint is on his scaly arms. And then you compare that to the one I just got. It's got a much brighter shine to it. They're both Hong Kong. They both have the olive head. There is an orange head version that I do not have. I have not seen an 85 grade or higher come up yet recently. So whenever that happens, I will get one. Don't worry. It's at the very top of my Kenner list right now, but I just have not seen one with a high enough grade that warrants a purchase yet. But you can see the limb difference, though. Interestingly, the feet don't look that much differently. Don't look that much different to me. They both look kind of the same. The kind of that flat finish. But the limbs, those are definitely a pretty noticeable difference in terms of the gloss. So you can see how glossy that one is. So that's another variant that I have in my collection now. There are a number of different Bosks out there. The PBP version with the wide lips is extremely expensive. I haven't even seen one for sale recently. There was a 60 grade one that came up maybe 3, 4, 5 months ago. And a 60 grade sold for $600. So that tells you how hard those are to find. And then there's a toxic green limbs version that ungraded go for crazy money, over $1,000, like $1,000 to $1,500 minimum for the bright green Bossk with the toxic limbs. So probably never going to see one of those in my collection. And there's also a no COO Palatoy version. I'm sure there's others I'm missing, but there's a glossy and a flat finish with the orange head, and so I have neither one of those. I'd like to get both of those eventually. Next, we got Pruneface. I didn't like the way they cased this one. AFA is interesting. They encase the. God, man, my camera is so annoying. I just want to punch it right in the mouth. There we go. They encase these Pruneface figures depending on how they came on the card or how they were submitted. So if somebody submits the Pruneface with the cape off, then they will put the cape behind the figure. If somebody submits the prune face with the cape on, I think that they put the cape on like this. But they still do the stringent grading process, but for whatever reason they cased it like this. I hate the way that looks. So I do have a bagged prune face where the bag is really beat up, but the figure itself is near mint. I'm probably going to, don't get mad at me, but I'm probably going to go ahead and open that baggie and send it into CAS, because CAS makes a really awesome Pruneface case where the figure is mounted separately with a cape stand. It's really nice, and it's only $40 to get it graded like that. So I'm probably going to get one of those submitted here soon. But anyway, I did finally get my first graded Pruneface, and it came back with a 90. So, and this is a no COO. As far as I'm aware, all of the Prunefaces are no country of origin. So somebody correct me if I'm wrong on that, but everything I found online says that there's no COO for the Prunefaces. But they showed up on Kenner cards, on Tri-Logo cards, 2-packs, all kinds of different variations for the packaging. But, so this is my first Pruneface. You can see his weapon there. It's like kind of like a really old school long rifle. It almost looks like a G.I. Joe gun, really. But anyway, I don't like the way this is cased, but given how cheap it was, I couldn't pass it up. And then the last one is an interesting one. This is a Greedo, and I've got a number of Greedos in my collection. I've got 5 now, loose graded, all 85 or higher. But, and if you're interested in that video, there's a long video I have on that. But this is a new one. This is a new one that I got. And what's different about this one is that this is a made in Spain glossy boots variant. It came back with a U85, so someone took it off the card and had it graded. I guess the card was in bad shape. But what's interesting about this one, so the, made in Spain means it's a PBP figure made in Spain, and they are pretty highly desirable. Kenner figures in general right now are, from what I can tell, just looking at prices, they've come down a little bit over the last 6 months. But there are exceptions. PBP, Mecanos, French Mecanos, Letty figures, Lily Letty from Mexico, those figures have skyrocketed in value. So for whatever reason, the Kenner figures are flattening or actually going down on final auction prices, but these PBP figures are definitely on the way up. And this one was listed for super cheap. And what's interesting about the made in Spain is that, so it is a PBP figure, but my guess is that this came off of a standard looking Kenner card that were sold in the US. I've seen a number of made in Spains with Sears Roebuck tags and department store tags for US stores. And so I did some research on it, and apparently the Cantina aliens like Hammerhead, Greedo, Red Snaggletooth, and Walrus Man, those were the only 4, as far as I know, those were the only 4 PBP Spain figures that made it over to the U.S. on Kenner cards. The rest are on Tri-Logos or, other kind of foreign cards. And the other interesting fact is that I now have 2 different PBPs. So this is the made in Spain off of a Kenner card, and then this is the hard torso variant. And what makes it different, and I've covered this, but what makes it different is that they use a different kind of plastic for the torso, the chest piece. It's a harder plastic, much more solid in feel versus kind of the rubbery feel that you get for the standard Greedos. And you can really see it, actually, if you look closely. Let's see if I can get the camera to focus again. But you can see the kind of the color difference on the torsos. So the one on your left is your made in Spain, with a standard plastic type, and then this one is the hard torso, Scar COO. So that's the difference there. The other difference is that this made in Spain that showed up on the US cards, it's got kind of a glossy boot, and the hard torso PBP variant, it has a darker kind of plastic color to it. So it may not be showing up very well in the lighting. Maybe it is, I don't know. But you can see that these boots are quite a bit darker than the standard. I'm not sure if that's coming through or not, but if you look really close, let's see if I can get it to focus here. If you look really close at the boot color, it's quite a bit brighter not quite a bit, but a little bit brighter. And to me, it's more noticeable when you look at them from a distance. Maybe I'm wrong, but let's see if I can get the camera to work here. I'm just falling apart, guys. My tripod's not working. My camera's not focusing. I apologize. So, but to me, when you look at them close, it's not as noticeable, but when you look at them far away, the Scar PBP hard torso variant, it's got a much darker boot, much darker hands, and even the head is a darker sculpt. So, just another interesting variant that I have. So I've got 2 different PBPs. One is the standard plastic with the glossy boots, and then the one on the right is your hard torso. So, but that makes 5 now of the different Greedo variants that I have. And then I think the more interesting ones I wanted to cover are these Mexican bootlegs. Oh my goodness gracious, I am super excited to get them. This one is a late 1980s semi-articulated, so the arms move, unpainted, Bossk Mexican bootleg, and he is awesome. You can see it's almost a direct copy from the Kenner figure. He is in near mint condition, and I can't even begin to tell you how long and hard I looked for one of these. There was a seller on Facebook that had these for sale, and he gave me a great deal on it. Thank you so much if you're watching this video. He didn't want to part with it, but he finally agreed to sell it to me for what was a very fair price, and I can't thank him enough for it. So I'm super excited to have it. I mean, as a reference, another friend of mine who sells these on eBay, or excuse me, on Facebook, he's a Mexican seller. He wanted $500 for this, and which was ridiculous. So that's why it hadn't sold. But this is a late 1980s. It could be early 90s, but I'm almost positive, based on all the information I found online, that this is a late 1980s. These often came painted with the heads and hands and feet painted like a brown color, and even some chest decoration or the utility belt painted. But this is an unpainted variant, and I'm super excited to have it. But very similar in mold to the Kenner figures. And then I've also got 2 Greedos. There are a number of different these are both 1990s Greedos, but these are both semi-articulated, one from the same seller. I got the unpainted one from the seller who sold me the Bossk, and then this one is a painted variant that I bought separately from another seller on Facebook. But these are extremely tough to find. Just trying to find one of these is impossible. And there are a number of different color variants. I've seen blue legs and all kinds of different plastic types, but you know, and this one's interesting because it's got painted eyes and then white nostrils or white paint around his nose. It almost looks like fangs. A lot of the bootleg collectors call him Fang or Vampire Greedo. So, and then the other cool thing is that I did get a blaster. This is a vintage 1990s Mexican blaster, Greedo blaster. So I'm going to submit him with this one since the color plastic matches really well. And I've got another one on the way. I think it might have got lost in the mail, but I did get a white one to go with my other Greedo. So I'm pretty excited to get these. These were by far, of all the bootlegs I've gotten here recently, these three, the 2 Greedos and the Bossk, were by far the most difficult acquisitions I've had in a long time. It took many hours of searching Facebook and eBay sellers and things like that. So super excited to have them, and they'll be going off to grading soon. But anyway, I just thought I'd combine everything with my new purchases, comparing them to some of the old ones I had, and then show off some of these Mexican bootlegs I picked up. Thanks for watching, and I'll talk to you soon.